Hello students. So now we are going to discuss about hooks or universal joint. So what is this hooks or universal joint? So suppose we have a shaft. We have a shaft. Let's say this is one shaft. And then we have another shaft which is at some inclination and it needs to be connected to the shaft, first shaft, and motion needs to be transmitted. So these are the different rules which we have. Suppose we need to connect just two shafts which are collinear. Suppose these are the two shafts which need to be connected. This is shaft 1 and this is shaft 2, which are linear. There is not much thinking to be required. We can just connect them, right? And then whatever angular velocity of the driven shaft, of the driver shaft, we call this driver and this is driven. So we'll have same motion transmitted to the driven shaft also. Using some connection, some coupling, we can just join it. Even using a flange, you can connect it. You can weld it together. You can do a number of things if the shafts are linear to transmit rotary motion, right, to the driven shaft. But if the shafts are such that they are not in a line, they are not collinear, but they are at some angle with respect to each other. So in those cases, we will need a joint called universal joint or Hooks joint. So let's think that this is the reference. The pink one is the reference with respect to the shaft 1. Let's clearly mention even shaft 1. So let's say this is shaft 1. If these both need to be connected, then we have to use universal joint. And let's say that the angle of inclination between the driver shaft and the driven shaft is alpha. So this is the angle between the driver and driven. So this is the case we are going to face right now. So usually we have two forks. I hope you all know what is fork, right? So let's say that this is your driver shaft. So you'll have this type of fork and this is your driven shaft. So this plus symbol, what you see, it's actually 90 degrees and this is the shaft. So now if you want to check the angle between these, you can just check this way. This angle will be alpha. So driver and driven shafts. This is the fork and usually the forks are connected at total. See, this is the first place, second place at the bottom, then 3 here and 4 here. So here you have revolute type of joints which are connected. So this is your Hooks joint. So now we are going to do is we are going to derive an equation to find out to angular velocities of this driver and driven shaft, because the angular velocities will be different. They won't be the same. Okay, whatever angular velocity you give to the driver, it won't be transmitted exactly to driven. There will be some difference. So now let's draw properly. So let's say that this is your driver shaft, and that is the fork. And then we have even driven shaft, right? Let's take this your driver shaft, and driven shaft will use some other color to represent. So let's say that this is the angle. This the diagram which we are drawing is from the front view, top view, sorry, top view. And let's take this reference. This is the reference axis. And let this reference will have the angle, right? So the angle with respect to is alpha. So even here you can see that this also will be alpha, right? So let's name it AB and then CD. So similarities we can check properly, right? So this is the top view, and now you have to draw the front view. We'll just drop some reference lines for the front view. So yes, so this is one of the fork. AB is one of the fork, and CD is also the rod connecting the forks. You can see here. I'll just show it here. See, this is one. Like let's call it CD, and this is the other one, which you can see here. Let's call this as AB when you're looking from the top view. Okay, AB and CD. I'll just mention it here also, so that we'll be far from confusions. So let's say that this is D, this is C, this is A and B. Just make it horizontal and make this inclined. You will get the picture, right, from some other view. Now, so what is the path traced while this driver shaft? Let's say this is driver, yeah, driver, and this is driven. So whenever you see that this is the rod AB, similar to this one, which is connecting the fork ends. So AB, whenever you're looking from the front view, you can see that if it is rotating, the shaft, the driver shaft is rotating, AB will make complete circles. The trace of AB will be complete circle. Let's trace it over here. Yes. So this is the path on which AB will travel, the AB link. And now if you check, if you draw more reference for D and C, draw the reference for D and C. So this is D, and here this is C. If you draw it, then we can see that DC will travel along the circular path. You will have the elliptical, you can see only the elliptical way of traveling of that DC whenever you are having this view. So you can see that it's an ellipse because it's an inclined line, right? If you rotate an inclined line, you can see a path traced is ellipse. If you are rotating an exact horizontal line, you can see it is circle, whereas the DC will be looking like it's tracing an ellipse. Actually, even DC also will be tracing a circle itself, but from the point of view, as we are looking from the front view, we will see that DC is tracing an ellipse. Now let's see that exactly how they are looking. Okay, this is your CD and this is your AB. Let's name them clearly. So A, B and CD, they are actually perpendicular to each other in reality, C and D. So this is the an ellipse on which the CD is actually rotating, and AB is a circle. Now let AB let AB have a rotation. Let the driver shaft have a rotation anti-clockwise. Clockwise. So let's trace it with some other color. The new position of AB will be this one. This is the new position of AB, and the angle rotated, let's say that it is theta. Let the angle rotated here is theta on the circle. So the new position will be A dash and B dash. But as AB rotates, even CD also rotates. So let's say that the rotation of CD, let's use the same color. CD also is having a rotation which is theta on this ellipse. For our convenience, I'm just drawing in a bigger manner. Yes, that means larger angle. So let's say that it is theta. But but is CD actually having an elliptical path? Actually, this is the observation, the view in which I am seeing is I can see ellipse, but actually it is having not an ellipse, it is also moving in a circular path. So this is not the true angle of CD. Let's name this just C1, this point, and this is D1. Let's name the center as O. Here also the center is O, this center. Now to get the true angle, what we are going to do is we are going to project this C1 onto this CD line, the original CD line from the top view. On the top view, just project it, project this line. Now on the top view, take O as center, and let me label even this one. Let's name this as, take this point as C1. Yeah, C1 on this, right? Now take O as center, C1 radius, and cut an arc. If you cut an arc on AB line, so you will get this length and you call it N. Let's call this N and this is M. Let's take another color to mention it clearly. So this is M and this is N. Now actually we have, what we have done, we have projected this C1 on this CD line, and then we called it C1 on the top, and then OS center, C1 radius, cut an arc on the original AB line, and now project this N onto this circle on the lower end, like AB, project on the AB circle, project it downwards. Then you will get the true angle. So we are projecting it downwards, and now we got the true angle. Just connect these lines, and then this is the true angle which is actually rotated by the CD. It means the driven shaft. This is the actual angle rotated by the driven shaft, and let's name it phi. Now we'll make few things clear, right? We'll first name and number it. Hold on, guys. Yes, this projection further you can, on AB you can cut it, right? And similar to the top view, you can write M and N over here also. Yes, let me write it. So this is your M, point M, and this is your point N. Now we even have the angles. So what are the different angles which we have right now? So the different angles which we have right now is theta. Theta is angle turned by driver shaft. Driver means input shaft. You can even call it input, and driven is output. And phi is angle turned by driven shaft. Done. So now you have angles turned. Looking at the bottom view, the bottom diagram, you look at the triangles OC1M. From triangle OC1M, you can write that, see, whatever angle is at this point, it is theta, yes or no. Just check it and let me know. It is theta, yes or no. See, you might have small confusions here. Okay, excuse me. Okay, so I'll let you know what theta is exactly. See, This is your theta over here, right? This is only theta, right? So this is theta over here from here to here. So same angle will be there, right? So I can write tan theta is equal to opposite is OM divided by adjacent is C1M, right? Comma, from triangle I can say O, here I'll write C2. Just look here, this is C2, OC2N, OC2N. I can write tan phi is equal to, because the angle is phi, right? So you'll have the same angle over here, which is phi. This will also be phi, right? The other one is theta. So opposite is ON by adjacent is NC2. But NC2, what is NC2? See, this length from top to bottom NC2 and MC1 is equal, yes or no? Just check it. NC2 is equal to MC1 or C1M. So I can write down tan theta, sorry, tan phi is equal to, excuse me, let me rewrite it. So tan phi is equal to ON by C1M. Now I have two equations, right? So I can say that this is equation 1, this is equation 2. Now I can write down tan theta by tan phi, right? I can divide equation 2 by equation 1 and I'm going to get, what is it? Equation 2 is tan phi and equation 1 is tan theta is equal to ON by OM, because C1M gets cancelled. So this is what I'm going to get. Now what is ON? What is ON? So tan phi by tan theta is ON by OM. What is OM? So OM is, if you look at the top diagram, OM is OC1 cos alpha, right? So I can write down here OM is equal to OC1 cos alpha from triangle OC1M, right? So from triangle I can write this. And what is OC1? Actually I have taken O as center, C1 radius, I cut it on AB, then it became ON, right? So this is N, right? So I can write OC1 is equal to ON, right? Because the radius is same, we just cut it. So instead of OC1, I can write OM is equal to ON cos alpha, right? Now substitute this ON cos alpha in OM, right? Then you are going to get tan theta is equal to cos alpha tan phi, right? If you just substitute this and if you check it, you are going to get this. And let's name this as equation 3. This is equation 3, right? So now further we have to do some calculations, which is we have to find out the angular velocity ratio. See, we got the equation in terms of theta, alpha and phi, where alpha is the inclination between the two shafts, yes, and theta is the angle turned by driver shaft, phi is the angle turned by the driven shaft. So these are the different things which we have gained till now. Done. So this equation is an important equation. So further now what we have to do is we have to find out the angular velocity ratio. Means for how much time is in how much time how much angle is turned. Yeah, that is angular velocity, right? Radians per second. So now I'm going to differentiate it with respect to time. What we are going to differentiate? We are going to differentiate the above equation number 3 with respect to time. So tan theta, see theta is changing. Alpha is a fixed quantity because it's constant. It is the angle between the two shafts, and phi and theta are changing actually. So tan theta differentiated, you'll get secant square theta d theta by dt is equal to cos alpha is constant and secant square phi d phi by dt. Now let's say that omega is the angular velocity of driver shaft. It means d theta by dt. So let's say secant square theta into omega is equal to cos alpha and secant square phi into omega 1. Omega 1 is angular velocity of driven shaft, omega is angular velocity of driver shaft, and angular velocity of driver shaft usually we assume it to be constant. It means omega is constant. So now if you want the ratio omega 1 by omega is equal to secant square theta divided by cos alpha secant square phi, right? So this is another equation. We name this equation as equation number 4. So this is also an important equation where we have different parameters, right? So this is theta and we name it equation number 4. So now here theta, alpha, phi, but actually phi is the angle turned by driven shaft. Usually whenever you have the input, we know the input is theta, right? So we'll know theta, we'll know omega, but and we'll know alpha also, because alpha is the, while connecting itself we know what is the angle between the input shaft and the output shaft. We are connecting the shafts, right? We'll know alpha, we will know input angle theta which is turned, we'll know omega also. If we know theta we'll know omega also, but we won't know phi because phi is after you rotate theta, what angle is rotated by driven shaft, that is phi. Okay, that angle is phi, so that won't be known. So I want to eliminate this phi. How to eliminate this phi? So we have an idea to eliminate this phi. Look at equation number 3. I can write tan phi as tan theta by cos alpha, right? From equation number 3 I can write tan phi is equal to tan theta by cos alpha. It means I can eliminate that, phi, right? I can eliminate that phi very easily. How? From this secant square phi, I need to eliminate from equation 4 secant square phi, right? So just check it. So I need to eliminate secant square phi, needs to eliminate it, right? Is equal to, what is secant square phi? We have an identity 1 plus tan square phi is secant square phi. This is an identity which we already know. Now, from where do I get this tan square phi? So from equation number 3, from equation 3, what does equation 3 say? Equation 3 says tan theta is equal to cos alpha into tan phi. So I'll have secant square phi is equal to 1 plus, instead of tan square phi I can write tan square theta divided by cos square alpha. This is from equation 3. Done? Yes. So now further we have to solve it. So which is equal to 1 plus tan can be written by sin square theta by cos square theta, right? Into cos square alpha. Now cross multiply it, you will get cos square theta cos square alpha plus sin square theta divided by cos square theta into cos square alpha. Now I wish to write over here sin square theta plus cos square theta, which will be equal to 1. How do I get that? It means I have to separate this cos square theta from cos square alpha. Now what can I write cos square alpha? I can write cos square alpha as 1 minus sin square alpha, because cos square alpha plus sin square alpha equal to 1, right? Plus sin square theta divided by cos square theta into cos square alpha. Now multiply it inside internally. If you multiply it internally, if you are going to multiply it internally, what are you going to get? We are going to get is equal to 1 minus cos square theta sine square alpha. This is what we are going to get. Just multiply and check it. 1 minus cos square theta sine square alpha divided by cos square theta into cos square alpha. So this is what this is actually. This is your secant square phi. So I will write secant square phi is equal to whatever you got, right? So now substitute this secant square phi in equation number 4, because that was our aim. Why did we do all this? We did all this to eliminate secant square phi from equation number 4. So now from equation 4, we can write omega 1 by omega is equal to secant square theta is 1 by cos square theta, right? 1 by cos square theta is secant square theta into cos alpha into 1 by, so denominator we are substituting secant square theta, right? Secant square phi. So I will write down 1 minus cos square from above equation sine square alpha, and numerator what will go? Cos square theta cos square alpha. Now whatever gets cancelled out, just strike it off. Whatever gets cancelled out, strike it off. I can strike this with this, and then this one of this will go, and then finally I'll get omega 1 by omega is equal to cos alpha divided by 1 minus cos square theta sine square alpha. Now, do we have phi in this term anywhere? No phi is there. Only angle alpha is there, which is the angle of inclination between driver and driven shaft. Then we have theta, which is the angle of rotation of the driver shaft, and then omega 1 by omega 2 is the ratio. So what did we get? We got the ratio of driven to driver, and the ratio is for angular velocities. Then, so this is the final equation. Now what are the different things we can know from this equation? What are the different things which you can know from this equation? So right now I am going to tell few things. I'll just write it down on the next page and explain what are the different things which you can see from this equation. Okay, we'll rewrite the equation now. What is the equation? The equation is omega. One second, guys. So the equation is omega 1 by omega is equal to cos alpha divided by 1 minus cos square theta sine square alpha. This is the equation, right? So now I'm going to draw a polar diagram. Using that diagram, you can easily know at what angles you will get the angular velocities, different angular velocities. Okay, polar diagram. Let's draw the angular velocity in terms of circle. First one, this is driver angular velocity. This is driver angular velocity. Let me draw a few reference lines. Driver angular velocity is constant, right? So constant, right from center you can check, it is same, right, in all the directions. So that's why circle. So driver angular velocity, we can use a circle and represent the driver's angular velocity. Okay, so now this is omega, which is driver's angular velocity, which is at equal distance, right? So at all the times omega is constant. Now we will point out the driven angular velocities. Now when is the angular velocity of driven maximum? We'll check from here, this equation. Just go back to the equation. Omega 1 is driven. I'll just write this way, driven. driven, driven is equal to this ratio into driver, right? Just cross multiply driver. So driver is constant. So this ratio, whenever it is maximum, that time you will get maximum driven angular velocity, right? So ratio is maximum means you need to have denominator as minimum. So denominator, when is it minimum? Denominator is minimum whenever you have 1 minus whatever you are subtracting, it should be minimum, right? Alpha is constant, so theta must, cos theta value must be the minimum value. So what is the minimum value of cos theta? Minimum value of cos theta is 0, right? So you'll have the value as cos alpha as 1 minus 0 is 1. You'll have what? This driven angular velocities, and this, and you'll have this as maximum angular velocity of driven, because driven shaft is having variable angular velocity. It means the angular velocity is continuously changing. So maximum value will have as cos alpha into omega driven. Yes, so this will be your maximum value. And you will have minimum value. When are you going to have minimum value? Minimum value is whenever, see, we'll write down omega driven minimum value. So when are you going to have minimum value is denominator should be maximum, right? So whenever denominator of the main equation is maximum. So when will denominator of main equation be maximum? So denominator of this equation will be maximum whenever you subtract the minimum from this equation, right? So what are we substituting? Okay, earlier we have maximum. Let me recap. Earlier we had maximum value when you had minimum value of this. So minimum value of this is 1 minus, we had maximum value. I'm sorry, we had 1 minus maximum value. So cos theta maximum value is 1. So it will be like 1 minus sine square alpha, right? 1 minus sine square alpha. So 1 minus sine square alpha is cos square alpha. So finally we will get here equation as omega driven, omega driver divided by cos square alpha. So see, this will be your maximum value, and minimum value is whenever you have maximum denominator, right? So maximum denominator, you will have minimum ratio. So maximum denominator means 1 minus minimum value you have to subtract. So cos theta minimum value is 0. So you'll have this value, right? So cos alpha times omega driven. So I can even write this in another format. The other format is N1 is equal to N by cos alpha. It's not cos square alpha, it's cos alpha, because one of the cos alphas get cancelled from the top. And this is your maximum value. So for maximum, this is the value, and minimum value of N1 is equal to N cos alpha. So minimum value you will get somewhere around here in this format, here and here. This is the minimum value. Maximum value you will get over in these angles over here. If you want to know maxima or minima, you have to just differentiate it and equate it to 0, right? So differentiate it and equate it to 0. Right now we can do it, right? So omega 1 and omega, keep it that way itself and differentiate it and equate it to 0. Alpha is constant, and then you'll get some equation. From that you will get these values. I'm just drawing right now. So something like this will your Polar diagram, a little more aligned, of course. Yes, something like this. And your minimum value will be over here and over here. So these are the minimum values, and minimum is n cos alpha. So here you will have n cos alpha as positive, and this also is n cos alpha negative side. And then here you will have maximum value as n by cos alpha, right? And here also you'll have n by cos alpha. And at 4 positions, if you see, actually 1 over here, 2 over here, 3 over here and 4 over here, you have angular velocity of driver and driven to be same, exactly same. Angular velocity of driver and driven are same at 4 points, at 4 different angles. These are the actual angles right from 0 from this horizontal to at some maybe some 45 or something, and equally on the opposite side and then this way. So there are 4 possible positions where you have angular velocity of driven and driver to be same. Where are they? You can just check it this way. Where is omega 1 equal to omega? It means ratio should be same, right? So cos alpha is equal to 1 minus cos square theta sine square alpha. So whichever satisfies this equation, there are 4 points which satisfies this equation. So at those 4 points, you will have the actual coincidence and the angular velocities will be equal. Okay, I hope that you understood most of the part. Thank you. Thank you.